欢迎大家来到今天的 Twitter Space。今天呢是33的项目专场，整体呢是一个中英文双语的，然后之后的话还会有一个红包抽奖环节。这次的主题呢是 Pos 时代 LSD 赛道的百花齐放。那名牌空投 Sport 应该怎么样去参与？是本场主持人丫丫。那感谢王老师邀请我来做。我先来介绍一下两方的嘉宾。首先呢是 SWOT Founder Daniel。What's up, Daniel? And welcome. It's really awesome to have you through here. So could you please kindly say hi to everyone here and also to introduce yourself a little bit more?
Sure thing. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you here all today. My name's Daniel. I'm the founder of Swell Network. Swell Network is a Ethereum liquid staking protocol. My background is a mix of finance, technology, and innovation. Prior to Swell, I was a corporate advisor to various government agencies on blockchain and digital assets, and also am an exited Web2 founder, and have always been passionate about DeFi and crypto. And about the team as well, we're a mix of very much Ethereum aligned people coming from a range of different backgrounds, both from DeFi, TradFi, and what have you. And yeah, very excited to chat about Swell with you all today.
Oh, 我来做一下简单翻译。那本场的嘉宾 Daniel Lisa 呢是 SWOT Founder， 然后呢他呢是来自澳洲的一个 crypto 的爱好者。那 SWOT 呢是一种非托管性流动协议，是一个算是一个我们所谓的科学家，是一个 technology 的一个擅长者。那他对 DeFi 和 crypto他们团队呢整体都是 ETH 的爱好者，那并且呢他们团队当中背景比较复合，有就 DeFi 方面的一个专家，有 TradFi 啊各种的一些专长的一些人。接下来再介绍我们这边三道Pos Dell is one of the biggest Chinese research community。接下来是这边的嘉宾，那是大家非常熟悉的一些朋友们，有蜂蜜老师何必Big Clear 王老师愉悦Big Killer 还有 Y 零。那我们今天废话不多说，我们直接进入第一个环节。第一个环节请我们这边三道的朋友们来进行一下提问。
要不我先来提问吧。
OK， 可以。
对，我们知道那个 Swell 现在在做一个 Voyage 的活动，然后可能在 Space 里面呢，并不是所有人都非常熟悉这个活动，所以我想请这个今晚 Space 的一开始先请那个 Daniel 介绍一下Swell 的一个 Voyage 活动。
OK. So let me translate this. So what is the Swell Voyage and how can I in the collectors and maybe claim my share of the sports airdrop? We know that you have a. And could you please introduce that to everyone here?
Yes, it'd be my pleasure. The Swell Voyage is basically an early adopter program. The way it works is that people who are early to staking with Swell, so depositing or staking ETH, and also providing liquidity for our token, which is Swell Ether, earn pearls. And the pearls are basically points that will accumulate over time. And then what will happen is those pearls are basically representing your right to the airdrop when we do our token. Swell's currently pre-token, and we're growing at a very fast rate. We're one of the fastest growing protocols in all of DeFi. And then when we are at the end of the voyage, we have various chapters within the voyage. We're about to announce chapter 2 very soon. You'll be able to, in effect, claim your Swell rewards by using your pearls. And then so that will be, at the moment, scheduled for sort of late Q3. So to get involved, all you have to do is just stake the Swell and provide liquidity, and we'll continue to drop a lot of interesting pieces of information and news about how you can get more involved by just following us on Twitter and things like that.
OK， 那我进行下翻译。那这个Swell 的奥德赛呢，它是一个质押代币，然后获得一个所谓叫 PER 的一个活动。那 就是大家去提供这个 ETH 的 liquidity，给各种池提供流动性之后呢，你就会获得一定的分数。那这个 per 和这个per 是一种分数的凭证，那时间它会不停的累积数量，并且呢它会增值。那它也是整个未来后期的这个 token 的 airdrop 的一个形式。Swell 作为目前最厉害的一个协议之一，大概会在 Q3 或者下面那个季度进行 airdrop。整体呢会依据这个 per 的数量，还有包括 per 的这个量和时间来继续进。OK， 那可以问下一个问题。
好的，感谢呀。还有2个小问题啊，就是Voyage 那边我们都知道，就是这个活动的话，因为每个用户的以太坊数量可能不是那么完全相同，那有些用户可能他的拥有的以太坊数量是比较少的，所以 Voyage 这边会对小额的用户就是在最后的空投阶段会对小额的用户比较友好吗？
Maybe will the Voyage accommodates users who has staker small, is there any other kind of strategies in place to ensure the participation for users with varying token amounts? So maybe the small token amounts users for yeah.
Sure. Yeah. In terms of the actual mechanics for how we reward the pearls, we basically keep it really very simple. So the idea is that the earlier you stake, the larger you stake, and the more you and sort of the longer you stake for, the more pearls you earn. And we also provide further quote unquote incentives if people hold, but also people like provide liquidity. So we have a range of different liquidity pools on places like Balancer, Uniswap, Maverick, and Curve, and a whole range of different ways in which people can get involved and do more than just staking. So you stake, provide liquidity. You can also now borrow against your Sweeth on protocols like Gravita protocol. So there's a whole range of things you can do. But the idea is that, as I said, the earlier you stake, the longer you stake, and the larger you stake, the more pearls you get. But we try to keep it sort of very aligned between us and our early users.
OK, thank you so much. So, 我来进行一下翻译。那这个 Daniel 他说，整个的这个Voyage 机制非常简单。那你质押的时间越早，你质押的时间越长，就越多。同时呢，如果说你提供流动性，或者说你参与当中的其他一些协议，比如说你给我们熟悉的小牛，或者说你给 Uniswap 或者说 Curve 提供一些流动性，那你也可以在不同的协议上面做借贷，他们协议本身呢也会给你一定的奖励。那么在获得所有奖励的同时，还可以奖励，这是种双赢的。并且所有他自己但现在只是在一个初期的阶段，所以说大家就是鼓励大家，可以问下一个问题。
好的，谢谢。最后一个问题就是关于 Lsdfi 的一个问题，就是因为我们最近在官推时候官宣了跟 Gravita 的一个合作。Gravita 是一个利用ST token 去做超额抵押生成稳定币的一个项目。然后又看了一下，跟 Swell 的合作部分其实有2个，一个是在过程中提供Swell ETH 和GRAI 的一个 LP， 或者是直接去质押借出来 GRAI 的一个稳定币的代币，这2种方式，我想知道，因为在官网上是没有显示的，所以我想知道，如果去提供相应的 LP 或者是去质押进行借贷的话，会不会额外提供一些珍珠的收益的？这是我想问的一个问题。
Okay, so the next question is, maybe if like the Gravita, this kind of LSD projects, if people provide LP or maybe provide or other kind of LSD projects, does it still account as a participation in this world voyage? As we see that it says that on Gravity you did not currently pearls in the swell void. So can you please explain that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So at the moment, everything except for Gravitar will earn pearls for people.
Yeah.
The thing is with Gravitar, we're actually very early to getting onto Gravitar sooner than we thought. But once Chapter 2 is announced, we'll have pearls be earning for Gravitar. But what we can do, what you can do with Gravitar, there is a way to earn pearls on Gravitar, but you need to do an extra step. This extra step is when you borrow, when you mint Grai, Grai, you also have to provide liquidity on Bunny. The liquidity on Bunny APYs are pretty attractive at the moment, but because we capture Bunny, which is basically like Uni V3, you're able to actually earn the pearls. But if you just mint Grai itself at the moment, you're not going to be we're not going to be recognizing that because we haven't built out the tooling for it yet, but we will for Chapter 2. But if you mint Grai and provide liquidity on Grai Sweeth, you could, jump on our Twitter and then, just search for Grai or jump on Gravitar or, hit us up on Twitter or Discord. We'll sort of walk you through it. But all you have to do is just after you mint, provide liquidity and then you'll be fine. But everything else, yeah, it's all accounted for. It's just that with Gravitar, we were earlier than we thought.
Okay, got it, thank you. 所以就 Daniel 他说就是Gravity 现在是一个非常早期，所以说现在暂时没有深度的去合作那个 Per 相关的，但是在下一个阶段他们会用这个Per 相关的一些价，但现在的话呢，他也强调就是当你 mint Grai 这个东西的时候，并且给它提供流动性，那你也会获得相应的 pearl。但是如果说用户只是单纯的去 mint 这个 GRAI 的话，那就不会有相应的 pearl。所以大家仔细了解一下。
好的，谢谢，我的问题结束了。
好的，我们来看看下一个。林。
OK， 我想问一下，就是Swell 它的代币的主要功能是怎么样的？能不能介绍一下代币经济学呢
？OK 哈。So Daniel, could you maybe provide an overview of the tokenomics with the Swell tokens, including some details about their distribution or utility, or some mechanism in place to support their value and the ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. So our tokenomics, we're still pre-token, but we saw the opportunity for us to really innovate on the tokenomics. What we saw within the LST landscape was there was a real opportunity to really provide an improvement to accrue value to token holders and also do all the sorts of wonderful things that you can do when you design a token well. So a couple of the things that we have in place with our tokenomics is that we'll be rolling out, and we'll have more detail on this very soon, but it's really engineered around what we saw worked in DeFi and what didn't work, and we try to take the best of where we saw where tokenomics really worked in DeFi. And after all this analysis, what we came to the conclusion was that the best tokenomics model that really drives value for token holders was something like a vote escrow token. So the tokenomics distribution is really engineered or weighted towards driving as much value as possible to Swell holders and also to bringing as much utility and liquidity to Sweeth, our LST. So most of the sort of emissions are going to go out towards the vote escrow component, where we'll be providing emissions towards similar to Curve, where you have these different pools which get whitelisted into gauges. Those gauges will then be recipients towards emissions. But we're not going to do it in a way that DeFi 1.0 failed, right, where there's all this liquidity mining and so on. We're going to really learn from the pitfalls of liquidity mining and make it more performance-based. And so we have and will be announcing some more details on that soon. Basically, it's like liquidity mining options. But anyway, that might be a bit too much detail. But at a high level, in terms of the distribution, sort of very sort of standard distribution that you see in protocols because you're trying to align multiple actors. Roughly speaking, it's about a quarter to the sort of the treasury, more weighting towards the ecosystem and emissions incentives, and then carve outs as well for the team and for investors as well. But really, it's about trying to drive as much value to the token as possible and creating as much liquidity and utility to SWIFT, which is our liquid staking token.
OK， so 话提炼一下，就是 Daniel 刚刚说的，首先第一个呢，就是它现在呢只是一个 per token 阶段。Daniel 呢希望他们设计的这个 tokenomics 可以产生真正的价值给到各的 holder。那他现在认为这个 DeFi 目前的现阶段发展不是特别好，所以他希望可以设计出一款真正的有实际用处的一个说代币经济学，就计算各种的模型，包括它想要研究出哪一款是有效，哪一款是无效的。他想设计一款对 holder 真正有益处的一款代币，可以持续的给他们赋能。并且呢，还希望可以帮助，比如说像 LST 凭证这种产品，可以给他们的流动性带来，顶说是给 token 的 holder 带来一些持续的增益，还希望给这整体的不论来说池子的 staking 流动性也好，给他们带来一些好处。并且呢，他还希望能够设置一些有意思的分配机制，去让用产品本身，去引导用户去，更多的参与做这个产品本身，去提升他们的整体的市场吸引力。并且呢，他还希望就是这款代币会被尽快推出，去给整个 DeFi 的市场也带来一个好的风向标，让他也呢在学习不同的，去学习他们的一些，就是挖矿的一些，让去从他们上面吸取一些好的教训，然后呢去结合为 economics。可以问下一个问题。
OK， 我想问一下，就是现在其实 LSD 赛道是一个非常新的一个赛道，但是这个赛道其实目前非常的卷，内卷。然后Swell 这边觉得现在目前遇到最大的困难是什么呢？是否就是有信心去解决呢
？OK， so the next question is that what is the biggest challenge that the Swell project team is currently encountering, and what ways can maybe the community or other kind of team members to contribute to this challenge?
Wonderful. Yeah, I would say we've overcome a lot of our challenges at the moment because of our community. But it's all about what's next for Swell. So Swell wants to be one of the biggest players in the liquid staking landscape. We are one of the fastest growing protocols. The reason why we've been so quick is because we know the space extremely well. We've been in the space for a very long time and we have a very experienced team. But the next big challenge for Swell will be for us to get a Chainlink price feed oracle. And the Chainlink price feed oracle is a very important step for SWIFT or for Swell because it enables us to do some really, really powerful integrations. And those integrations are things like Aave, things like Maker. Because if you're on Aave and if you're on Maker, you're on now the largest debt issuance platforms in all of DeFi. And what that means is that now you have a powerful new use case for SWIFT. And that use case for SWIFT is being able to borrow with the biggest lending markets and also being able to do leverage staking where you can loop. And that sort of helps our TVL and also helps people to enhance returns through things like Aave v3. Now, when we do get the Chainlink Oracle, we sort of know how to drive those integrations forward. And what the community can do is just keep doing what you're doing. You guys are doing a phenomenal job because, Swell is one of the fastest growing protocols. We're constantly in the sort of top 3 in terms of new inflows of staking. So if people keep staking and tell your friends about the staking and tell your friends about providing liquidity, it will all sort of work itself out. I would say at the moment, based on our internal projections, we're probably about 3 to 4 months away from securing that. When we do secure that, we'll see a big jump in our TVL and then therefore, hopefully a big jump in sort of the value of us as a community as well.
OK， Daniel 刚刚说呢，就是 Swell 呢，它还是现在 LSD 赛道上 增长最快，这个发展快的。其中的一个原因呢，就是整个团队对这个 LSD 赛道都非常的理解。那他认为现在的一个挑战呢，是和 Chainlink 的一个合作。那 Chainlink 它会提供一个未价机制。那他之前呢和这个就 Chainlink 和 Avi 啊，还有 MakerDAO 啊这样的合作都非常的好。但是和这个 Swell 这边怎么样去提升他们的这个怎样提升他们的整个这个质押的量，还有包括怎么样去符合这个未价体系，怎么样去运用起来。那这一块的融合上面，它还需要进行多多考虑。但是它相信个月之后，可能会有一个比较大的一个突破。那个时候的话，整个质押的量可能还会有一个飞速的增长，大概是在这一块。那在 community 这一块，社区这一块呢，他觉得说大家现在可以继续去做好现在目前当下正在做的事情，就是继续去进行代币质押，继续去提供流动性。通过这个方式的话，可以帮助整个 Swell 赛道去帮助他们增长，包括整个市场的一个扩张。
我还有一个问题，就是说，对于 LSD 的项目方来说，他们最需要的人才是哪一类的
？Okay, so maybe Daniel, is your team hiring anyone else? So what kind of people you need most?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we're always on the lookout for talented people. The way that Swell is set up at the moment is we basically have two sort of sub teams that work together. We have a growth team and we have an engineering team. So the growth team is made up of people in like marketing and business development and integrations. On the engineering side, we have smart contract developers, front-end developers, web developers, also product specialists. At the moment, we're not actively hiring for any positions. But that being said, we're always sort of happy to have a look at people that want to sort of get involved at the core team level. So you could feel free to just jump on our Discord and feel free to just send in your sort of resume or whatever it is. But there are other ways for the community as well to get involved. Just generally speaking, feel free to hit us up on Discord, and if you want to be more of a community advocate as well. But both, we're always on the lookout for great people to join, and also on the lookout for people to help grow our community and be real advocates for Swell.
OK, thank you. 所以 Daniel 他说，就是关于这个人才方面的话呢，他是非常欢迎就是各种人才来到他的这个Swell团队。那他希望的是有，现在的话，目前整个团队当中是有 marketing 运营啊，包括社区管理啊这些，那还有一些技术人员，比如说做智能合约的，做前端的，这一些用户。那如果说大家对这方面有兴趣的话，可以去 Discord 当中会有专门的频道，可以去看，有哪些人才是缺失的。那现在目前 Swell 还没有想要招新的意思，但大家可以去看，并且可以直接加入他们的社区，对整个 Swell 项目进行一个补充和支持。OK， 可以问下一个问题。
OK， 我没问题了，下一位老师来看看吧。
看看下一个是哪一位嘉宾？愉悦。
Hello， 我想提的问题是有关于安全性的问题，就是说。首先我是想问一下，团队现在是用了哪一些值得注意的技术呢？就是在技术领域方面的一些优势吧。
Okay. So the next question is that, could you please maybe given the recent hacking event, so could you please explain the security measures that Swell has implemented to protect the user's data and maybe the access to their assets?
Yeah, sure. So Swell, our number one priority in all of this is always the safety and security of user funds. And the ways in which we express that is by extensive testing and assurance. So our smart contracts are audited by Sigma Prime, probably one of the best, if not the best, in liquid staking auditing for Ethereum. They will work with the Ethereum Foundation. Yeah, wonderful. Also on the Immunify bug bounty as well that we have live. And then in terms of our sort of practice at security, in terms of security, we're constantly sort of reviewing the latest in operational security best practice. And so for us, it's always extremely important that we sort of really have security as being part and parcel of what we do.
Okay. Swell 呢，他非常自豪的告诉大家说 ，Swell Daniel 他非常自豪的告诉大家说 ，Swell 呢是在安全这块是非常非常重视的。那他整个 Swell 团队呢，经过各种的测试和不同的方案去保证用户的这个安全性。首先呢就是让审计过很多其他的 liquidity protocol 的这个审计机构 Sigma Prime 去审计了他们这个 Swell 的整个智能合约，包括整体的一个项目的各种代码。那这个 Sigma Prime 呢是ETH 审计当中非常名列前茅的一个审计机构。包括呢，它当中用了很多的operation 手段，就是在不同的运营当中进行训练，去教导用户们去保护自己的资产安全，所以说他觉得 Swell 这一块在安全方面做得非常好。
好的。那我还想问一个问题是，就是除了在安全性方面的保障上面，Swell 它用了哪一些相关的技术，是那种就是可能比如说它是优于其他 LSD 产品的呢？就是说在技术层面上它有什么创新吗
？Okay, so Daniel, could you please maybe introduce something about the technicals or some specials for the protocols that the Swell team has developed, or some implements for this project? Maybe it is helpful to the safety or some other things on Swell.
Yeah, great. Definitely. So in terms of Swell, a lot of our innovation comes from really is going to come from the governance token side. The thing is, so when you think about a liquid staking protocol, really there are two things. One thing is the actual liquid staking token itself. We already have the most efficient and most elegant design for liquid staking token. We have what's called a reward-bearing token because it's more sort of tax efficient. So that's the best model. So we have that. Where there's innovation and where we are sort of going to be really like leveling up the game is actually on the governance token. Really basically what these pearls represent. And what we're going to bring is really for the first time a really powerful vote escrow gauge-based system to create as much value as possible for Swell token holders and drive as much liquidity and utility to Sweet. And it's going to be really, really sort of special. The other thing as well that we've done just generally speaking is really our go-to-market campaign has been wildly successful. The liquid staking space is obviously extremely competitive, a lot of strong teams there, but we've been able to sort of cut through all that really because of our two things. One is focus on community. The other one has just been making it really fun. Like we've made it like a game. So everyone sort of wins at the same time. And that's sort of not really been seen, I think, in liquid staking.
OK，Swell 他认为他的一个创新点呢是在于 token 这个方面。token 这块呢，它分成了两个部分。那第一部分呢是它流动性质押代币本身是有一个特别的模型，可以帮助大家更好的去质押代币提供流动性，并且呢获得一些相应的 reward 奖励。那第二点呢就是它的整个Pos 模型，他认为这个是 Swell 代币最出彩的一个部分。这块呢虽然说是一种测试模型，但是这个模型非常特别，那大家呢可以以更好的方式去 测评他们的活动的用户活动的各个数据，然后让他们以更加准确、精准的去获得相应的 Pos 奖励。那这个后续我想应该也会应用在 AR 照方面。此外的话呢，Sport 在社区的运营方面也非常的有经验。他们呢在社区上面做了非常多的努力。并且呢，有很多的活动运营。他觉得这也是其中的一个特点。
了解了解，感谢。我的问题大概就是这2个。
OK， 可以下一个问题。
下一个我来问吧，听得见吗？
可以听到。
我想问就是那个 Swell 上主网到现在，就包括今天也可以看到它那个 TVL 质押已经突破了4万个 ETH 了吧？所以我希望 Daniel 可以简单来聊一聊，就是 Swell 它目前具体都有哪些就是比较值得拿出来去讲的、去吹的那种进展或者里程碑，还有就是更重要的就是它对接下来路线有没有什么比较明确的展望？这样。
Okay, so Daniel, we can see that there's more than 40,000 ETH on your TVL. So maybe could you please provide a brief overview of the significant milestones that Swell has achieved? Or additionally, it will be great to know about the milestones the team is currently aiming for.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Or as a kind of some special schedule or timeline.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's right. We have more than 40,000 staked, and we've been able to grow at a very sort of rapid rate because we've been very strategic and sequential about how we've gone about execution. So I'll talk about some of the past milestones that we've achieved. The first one was being able to launch the protocol in a very, very very, very security focused way, because we went through extensive testnet, then we went through a guarded mainnet launch, then we went through multiple internal audits, and then we got Sigma Prime on, we went through a comprehensive thing, and now it's launched. That's the first milestone. The second milestone that we did was we set up the liquidity pools. That it was very, very strategic as well, the way we set it up. And we wanted to make sure that the TVL and the liquidity, like the sort of liquidity pools against SWEET and ETH, were sort of working together. And then the third thing that we did was we were able to really speed run a lot of the ecosystem integrations. So it's almost like every other week we have another integration. And just today, we've launched a Pendle pool, a Pendle SWEET only pool. And we're the first team to actually launch that pool permissionlessly. Our devs did that. And that's the first. It just goes to show that we have a real sort of collaborative focus at Swell about making the Lsdfi system as synergistic as possible. That's the things that we have achieved, and it's helped us get to 40,000 ETH. And we're not really slowing down at all. In fact, we're continuing to grow at a very sort of healthy pace. If you look at our TVL chart, it's up and to the right. The next thing for us will be just to continue to achieve our goals. The next big one for the community will be for us to get to 50,000 ETH. Once we get to 50,000 ETH, the size of the airdrop will increase by 40%, so that everyone's pearls become more valuable, right? Because we want to reward the community and make it not player versus player, but as a winning as a community. After that, it's all the other stuff, right? We're going to be on multiple chains. We're going to, try to get SWEET on Aave and Maker and all these other wonderful things, so that we can continue to grow as a community and grow our TVL and make SWEET as available as everywhere.
OK， 所以首先 Daniel 他说，这个4万的一个 ETH 呢，他觉得非常自豪。那他说 Swell 呢是一个发展非常非常快的一个协议。他觉得其中的几点重要的里程碑，其中一点呢就是Swell它的发布阶段呢是一个非常困难的一个发布阶段，但是呢还是取得了巨大的成功。那当时呢整个Swell经历了这个以太坊的升级这个阶段非常的复杂，但他们团队呢也克服了这个阶段。那第二个这个他觉得非常光荣的里程碑呢，就是整个他的这个 流动性质押的一个奖励模型是非常棒的，就是它当中呢，进行了非常精细化的一个设计，那包括这个 PER 这整个引入，还有包括对那些 liquidity staking 的一些 users 他们的一些帮助，这一方面他觉得非常自豪。那第3块的话呢，就是它的整个池子，那它有一个 paddle pool， 那这个 pool 上面呢，关于这个 LST。这个池子的一个供应，这一块呢，他觉得还有一些小小的缺陷需要去弥补，但这个问题不大。他相信只要说这一块补充上去之后，那未来整个TVL 包括整个用户的一个staking 数量啊，这一些都会有一个质的飞跃。那他希望下一个里程碑会是在这个5万的 ETH 质押。他觉得这是他们的现在团队的一个目标。那如果说到了这个5万的这个数值，那会使得整个PER 的这个奖励更加的有价值。那包括会给整个社区会有一个更好的赋能。那他希望能够把这一些TVL 带来的好处，给社区的各位能够享受到。那他也会在其他地方继续努力，在这一块这样。
好的，谢谢大家。我现在暂时没有要问的了。
OK， 那可以看看其他的朋友有没有什么问题可以去问。
Hello， 大家能听到吗？我来吧。
可以 ，OK。
大家好，我是王老师。然后，Daniel，Hello，我觉得还是这个我先说一下，Swell 的这个 TVL 已经小8000万美金了。我觉得这是一个，可以算是一个蛮成功的一个协议了。我觉得，最近呢，大家应该也关注到这个 Engineer 了。那我就想问问他们，这个 Engineer 现在其实也是很受关注的。那他们会有合作吗？包括Daniel 对他们有什么理解吗？ OK， 就这个问题。
王老师可以再说一下，你刚刚问的是 engineer 吗？还是哪个
？Engineer 就是那个虫之烟。对。
Okay. So Daniel, we know that this ball has the TVL is around 80 million, and maybe would you cooperate with agent layer or other kinds of protocols, other kinds of LSD protocols? Maybe you have some cooperations or something like that.
Yes, it's a great question. Eigenlayer for us is, something that we're really looking to prioritize. We're in talks with the Eigenlayer team, and we believe that restaking will just be a natural evolution of LSTFi. Restaking LSTs and also restaking LSTs and doing collateralization off those restaking LSTs, all that sort of stuff. We've been thinking about that for a very long time. For us, one of the next big integrations will be Eigenlayer. So at the moment, Eigenlayer works with a closed set of LSTs, but we're very quickly working towards getting on Eigenlayer, working with the team around sort of working through their governance and then establishing and setting up a cap, and then growing out from there. Also, with Eigenlayer technology, just restaking generally, we also have visibility on the follow-on integrations that can happen beyond just restaking. So when you restake the LST, the actual LST that's restaked can potentially also be used as collateral again. So you have this sort of daisy chain, or this almost like a chain of different sort of yield on yield sort of thing happening. We think that Eigenlayer will be a really powerful piece of technology to help scale Ethereum whilst retaining the security properties. But yeah, we're collaborating with the team, and hopefully you'll see Sweet on Eigenlayer and other things very, very soon. It's on the roadmap.
OK， thank you so much. Daniel 他刚刚说就是Swell 呢是 LSD 的太一，就是 第一梯队的 protocol， 那他们呢是专注在 Lsdfi 这方面，他们会和这个Algon Layer 进行一个合作。那合作的方向呢是在于，首先会学习他们的一个 token 设计，会学习他们的整个就是整个这个 tokenomics 模型啊这方面都会进行一个合作学习。那其次呢会学习他们的这个 restaking 这方面，因为他觉得说Algon Layer 在这块面是有了一个非常举世瞩目的一个成就，那他希望能够学习Algon Layer 这一块的一个 restaking 方法啊，包括怎么样去持续的给这些 LST 赋能，那能够帮助用户去更好的去进行一个 liquid staking， 然后帮助他们去获得更多的收益。那所以说在之后肯定会有合作，那具体的细节还没有公布，未来可能会去公布它。
好的好的，谢谢呀，谢谢呀，我就这个问题。
看看大家还有什么问题想要问的，观众也可以问，如果说有问题的话。
要不我还是再问一个吧。
OK。
我直接就用英文问 Daniel 了。Hello Daniel。
可以，没问题。
Hello.
Apology for my oral English. So I also have a small question for you. Is there any as a small node operator, I also want to know when will Swell use DVT technology or open the node group to everyone? Is there any exact time you plan?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. DVT and enabling permissionless node operations is something that we're working towards. It's definitely on the roadmap. We have been across the DVT technology really since the inception of distributed valet technology. So we're in close collaboration with the OBOL team and also the SSV network team. And for us, it's something that we're keeping a close eye on and something that we want to introduce as well to the validator set. So yes, we will be doing DVT. And then in terms of enabling permissionless node operations, most certainly we are working towards that one as well. As I mentioned earlier, the Swell team is really Ethereum aligned. We're basically a bunch of Ethereans that wanted to help sort of build out an LST that we thought the community wanted. In terms of the timelines, they go hand in hand. The sooner we introduce DVT, the easier it is to do permissionless nodes. At the moment, it's impossible for us to do permissionless nodes because we don't have a token. If you don't have a token, then you can't actually do something permissionless on the collateral on the node operator side because you need collateral. So for us, there's a couple of things that we need to do first, but it's definitely a part of the grand vision. If I was to sort of give indicative timelines for us to be able to do this in any material way where we can actually scale and get penetration, it would be most certainly to do next year, first half of next year, or thereabouts, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
OK，Killer 想跟大家说一下刚刚 Daniel 说的这些内容吗？还是我来帮助你？
我大概就简单翻译一下吧。就是 DVT 的话，他们一直是有那个计划去做的，但是在做这个事情之前，还有很多其他的更重要的需要去完成的工作。然后可能以前也有合作，但是目前还没有明确的时间的安排，就包括这个 Node 也是一样。然后他们预计可能会在这一系列的事情全部搞定之后，可能明年会继续就把这个技术用上去，大概这个样子。
OK。
对，我这边大概能听明白是这样。
对。
我也想问一个问题 ，OK 吗？我就直接问了。
可以。
Hi Daniel. Some protocols like Libra Finance, you know that. Also Lsdfi protocols, they have a very high TVL, but the incentive for EUSD are not that strong. Sometimes I think it relies only on the token incentive to attract these TVL. But so I'm very interested in your tokenomics. So how does your tokenomics differ from this traditional mining subsidy model?
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, I'm very familiar with a lot of the projects coming out of LSTFi, in particular Libra Finance, the LST-backed stable. They've obviously seen, as you quite rightly pointed out, an incredible growth in TVL, and I'm sure that their team will continue to innovate and provide sustainable ways. But Swell and Sweeth are effectively earmarked to get onto Libra Finance as part of Libra V2, which is coming out very soon. But that being said, on the Swell side, we have looked at pretty much every single project in DeFi, looked at what works, what hasn't worked, and why didn't it work. And one of the things is really we wanted to be very sort of conscious about not just doing blanket liquidity mining incentives where you don't actually know what's going to happen and the thing runs out and it's not sustainable. Right? We want Swell to be around for as long as Ethereum is around, and to expand beyond that, we want it to be sustainable. So the things that we're doing that's sort of a step change different is this. We don't have much information on it publicly just yet, but we will be releasing more information soon, is effectively a vote escrow gauge-based system. What that will do is a couple things. The first thing it will do is that it will drive structural buy pressure for the tokens because the DAOs and all the other protocols will want to have and integrate with Sweeth. The reason why they want to integrate with Sweeth is because Sweeth is like a replacement for ETH. And everyone would rather have a yield-bearing form of collateral that's accepted. That's why we're seeing now LSTs become the most preferred and most pledged form of collateral. So that's one thing, is just structural buy pressure. The second thing is that we won't just be recording liquidity mining settings just blanketly. It will be performance-based, based on the liquidity gauges and how well they perform. And then as a result, what will happen is the Swell token will be emitted, but as part of the emissions, there'll also be a revenue capture. And what that revenue capture will do will actually create an interesting dynamic where the Swell treasury will become diversified, and it will be diversified with tokens that are actually going to be productive for the community. So what we will have at the end, if we execute this right, which I hope we will. I mean, we've been thinking about it for months now, and trying to look at how like where does this where could it fall? But we're pretty confident in the design. Is that you'll have a situation where people will be wanting to provide liquidity for Sweeth. They'll want to lock the liquidity, and the Swell treasury and the Swell DAO will be one of the biggest market makers for its own token. And also those assets on the DAO will be productive assets that will provide ongoing and sustainable revenue. And then once all the emissions are done, Swell can operate like a proper sort of decentralized autonomous organization that just continues to provide the powerful service that is liquid staking, and we have value accruals of token holders and all that sort of thing. But there's a couple of moving parts there. But yeah, we're very, very aware of the problems with existing liquidity mining that's happening out there.
愉悦，你可以帮助大家帮助Daniel跟大家复述一下刚刚说的那些内容，或者怎么样？愉悦好像麦还没有开。Hello， 愉悦。现在开麦了。
我大概能够，就是我大概听了一个大概吧，就是说，其实它的核心在于说，想要让整个代币经济学，包括它的 emission， 就是它的排放，能够更加的可持续，包括就是说在利用国库的方面，就是保证它整个代币并不是完全的，就像Libra 那种模式，因为其实。这样子的代币补贴的形式，它并不是一个那么可持续发展的一个形式。就是说，所以说 Swell 的一个 tokenomics， 它就是整个能够希望说能够通过 它的一个设计去让它的整个模式更加的就是更加的可持续，就是大概它的意思就是这个意思。但是就是我其实没有太听明白的一个点，就是说当然它本身肯定是存在一定的相似度的，但是我没有听明白，就是说它的整个的模式，它的不同于说玩这种代币排放的核心在于什么点？这个，Iris 不知道你有没有大概听明白他所说的这一个不同点在哪里？
好像没有具体的讲它这个细节，可能后续还会公布更多的细节吧。我可以再问一下 Daniel。Okay, so Daniel, you just asked another question, like, what is the difference? Exactly difference about the difference of Lido and Swell in this tokenomics decision in the tokenomic design. Seems like how to make it more decentralization or something like that.
Yeah, sure. So Lido and Swell, the main difference will come from the actual governance token itself. So the Lido governance token at the moment has come under a lot of criticism, mainly because it's really just intentionally designed as a governance token. And at the same time, it's come under fire as well with their governance mechanisms because it's highly concentrated in the hands of a couple of insiders. But that's fine. I mean, that's Lido, and they've done a tremendous job in sort of getting product market fit and doing a whole bunch of things. And they're steadily going to be looking to decentralize and everything else. But Swell has taken a completely different approach. The reason why we can do that is because Swell has an advantage of being a bit of a latecomer to the party. Because whilst you're a latecomer to the party, yes, other people might get a bit of a head start. But the other thing is that because you're a bit later to the party, you can actually see what worked and what didn't work, and that's what we've done. And we said to ourselves, we don't just want to have just a plain governance token, right? And then the votes are sort of concentrated in the hands of a couple of people. We didn't want to do that. We said to ourselves, well, we want to do governance, fine, but really what we want to do is we want to make the token actually useful and useful to Sweet holders who are actually also the biggest Pearl accumulators. And those Pearl accumulators will then become, the Swell holders as well. So that's what we wanted to do. So the big difference is immediately off the bat is we're philosophically very different. We really want to focus on community. You can see that in our marketing, right? Like when we all hit 50,000 ETH, we'll all get an upside and share of that. And so that's fundamentally different. And then so the way we do that is by trying to drive as much value as possible to Sweet. Because if Sweet is valuable and if Sweet has liquidity and utility, then the token will have it because that's the whole thing. We already established product market fit. It's all about now just how do we capture that in the right way. And the best way to do it that we've found so far is to do a vote escrow gauge system. And it really hasn't been done like within the LST landscape yet, but we'll be the sort of the innovators on that. And then that will sort of drive as much value as possible to Swell holders. And we don't actually need to be as big as Lido actually because our efficiency would be much better. That being said, though, we want to continue to grow our TVL and we'll sort of think it will work itself out. But that's a big difference between us and Lido.
OK， 刚刚 Daniel 说呢，就是Lido 呢，他觉得Lido 是其中有一个他觉得不太支持的一个小小的地方，但这个地方他认为不是说Lido 做的不好或怎么样，只是他认为他有不同的一个意见。他非常支持 Lido 这个整个代币的一个设计。他认为 Lido 一个小小的问题呢，就是它的整个token 呢是一个 governance token 是一个治理代币，那它呢是比较中心化的一个代币，它可能会去引导用户去做一些事情。他不是说这个不好，只是觉得这是一个不一样的特点。那相对 Swell 来说呢，它是更加的 decentralized 一个代币。那它呢不仅仅希望这个 token 是用于做治理这一块的，它希望这个token 呢是有一种真正的价值，那这个价值呢是可以给 token 的 holder 做持续的赋能，能够去专注于社区，帮助社区的人用户去更好的去用这个 token 做一些实质性的事情。那他认为能够去做到这一点呢，就需要说本身是有相应的价值。那么这个价值呢，具体的一个做法呢，它是设置一个 gaming system，这样的一个系统，它能够去 帮助这个 LST 的 staking， 让这些小的质押者或者说一些大额的质押者都有相应的获得一些相应的 rewards。那这个系统呢，当然也在进一步的研发当中。那现在已经做好大部分东西了，就可以在 LST 的 staking 上面能够显现出来，但他还希望能够后续去优化它。可以看大家其他有什么样的问题。
好的，感谢。
我看到有2位嘉宾，我需要去邀请他们来上来吗？看他们有什么问题。报上来2个嘉宾。
是我吗 ？Daniel， 我可以说话了。
一个是 BD， 可以听到。
我想问一下 Daniel， 就是 LSD， 在我看来都是大户的游戏，像我这种小散户，比如说投入3到5个以太，如何在 LSD 赛道实现最大的收益呢？
刚刚好像他有回答过这个问题，但是我可以帮你再问一下。你想听我跟你？
可能是我来晚了吧？那你帮我解答一下就可以了。
OK， 或者我让 Daniel 再帮你讲一遍。
帮我解答一下。
so OK， 就是它当中呢有很多不同的这个设计的 system， 那它当中有不同的策略，当然对小的一些质押者用户也会有很多优势的方面。如果说你感兴趣的话，你可以直接去他们官网，然后选择一种你相应的喜欢的一种模式。那它整个 system 设计呢，是对大的用户和小的用户都会有非常多的一个rewards， 所以说你一定可以找到自己适合的。他当时。我可以让 Daniel 再跟你讲。
不是我，
我补充一句，就是说，就是散户就是小额 ETH 的话是可以，它是可以按照时间有个乘数质押的，就是你质押的时间越长，它会后面的这个空头回报也会越高，大概就是这样。
如果是小金额的话，就是需要投入更多的时间来获得更大的回报呗，是这样的，对吧？
我来补充一下吧，因为它现在是这样的，就是达到50K 的以太坊之前，它是有一个乘数的，如果达到之后会有额外的一个加成，这是总体上的。然后另外一个部分事情是它有2种方式，一个是你去存入以太坊得到Swell 的一个代币 SWETH 的这样一个代币，这样的话你去铸造之后会得到一个初始会按照一个以太坊一个 SWETH 获得20个珍珠的这样的珍珠，是它在没有发币之前的一个点数，其实就是一个点数，然后每天会有额外的一个点数，就是你每天持有这个东西会额外的有点数的加成。除了这个之外，这个是单币，就是你存入以太坊得到的相应的 ST token 得到的一个时间加成的一个珍珠收集。另外一种赛道是去组 LP 的话，它提供了很多个相应的合作的协议，然后你去它那个协议里面去组 LP 的话，其实就是为ST token 就是 Swell 的一个 ST token 提供流动性，这样的话也会进行这个珍珠的一个点数的加成，也会随时间去加成。但是这个 LP 的速度肯定跟单币的这个速度是不同的，所以你可以根据自己的情况去选择最合适的这种方式去获得最多的这个珍珠的这个点数，这样的话能在未来的空投中获得最高的一个收益，大概是这么一个情况。
明白了，谢谢橘子老哥。
OK，
然后
可以看看还有，
我可以再问一个问题吗？就是，作为机构或者项目方来讲的话，Lsdfi赛道会不会成为下个以太坊牛市的引爆点？
可以看中文嘉宾有没有什么想回答这个问题的。如果说 么的话可以问一下 Daniel。
我感觉要不还是问一下 Daniel 吧，这个问题他从他的视角看肯定会有不一样的观点。
Okay, so Daniel, for the audience, they want to ask another question. So like, will this will be the next top of LSD protocol? Can you please maybe help us describe the future of Swell or the whole LSD? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to be a blue chip DeFi protocol. We want to have as many people use Sweet as possible. We're absolutely driven to make this happen. The team is extremely dedicated, and we're continuing to grow at a very sort of healthy rate. If you look on DeFi Llama or wherever you sort of get your DeFi statistics, you'll see that Swell is one of the fastest growing protocols in DeFi, and we'll continue to drive that. And we're constantly looking at ways in which we can sort of drive as much growth as possible. But at the same time, we just believe in the fundamentals. And we've been building throughout this entire bear with the same energy that we always have, even if it's a bull market. We don't really care, to be honest. We just want to make sure the product is as amazing as possible. And so, absolutely, if the team continues and the community continues to, work together, I think it's just a matter of time before we start to see Swell be a blue chip DeFi protocol. And the beautiful thing about it is that we kind of know the playbook. Like, we've seen it and we know it at first principles, and we kind of know where we're at. We're still in the very early stages, by the way, even though we're sort of, we're soon to be a top 50 DeFi protocol very soon. But we know the playbook, and we know there's so much growth out there because we're a liquid staking protocol. We're similar to like ETH itself. And so for that reason, we think that this is just the beginning and the future is extremely bright.
OK, so 刚刚Daniel 他说就是Swell 呢是 LSD 赛道上面的一个蓝筹项目，那大家可以去他们的这个 DeFi Llama 的这个官网上面看到，就整个Swell 的数据，包括他们的 TVL 啊，包括他们的这个增长这个趋势啊，都非常的好。那他说 Swell 呢是目前 LSD 赛道中增长最快的一个协议，成长也是最快的。那他们呢是更加注重 fundamental 这一块，他们更加注重这些基础设施的建设。所以说，无论在熊市还是说在牛市，无论整个市场的行情好不好，那他们团队呢都是坚定不移的这个建设者。并且呢，他们现在正在做 playbook， 那也希望就是能够给整个 LSD 赛道进行一个赋能。那他相信他们的这个产品会脱颖而出。OK， 还有33道呢有一个补充，就是33道说，他们如果说有观众提问的话，可能会给一定的奖励，所以欢迎大家积极提问。可以看还有什么观众有问题。刚刚上来一个1-2，可以听到吗？你有什么问题想要问的？或者嘉宾有什么问题，还有什么想问的东西吗？哦，我看到一个新的。报上来2位新的报上2位新的观众，可以看看。
你好，我有一个问题，就是咱们项目有没有融资的计划？因为之前我看2022年3月融了一轮嘛，但是现在很多 LST 项目都在大融资嘛，因为感觉大融资会有更多信心，所以想问一问 Swell 有没有
？Okay, so another question is that, so maybe Israel will have any other kind of like financial plans in the future?
Could you repeat the question? What was the question? Foundation
plan? So financing plans. So maybe some kind of like finding other investors and help them as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're probably we'll probably be finishing up a private round very soon. I mean, if people are sort of interested, in that, just feel free to send a DM to Swell Network or to me personally, and I'll sort of talk you through it. But that window is probably closing very soon. The next best opportunity is actually just to earn the token through participating in the voyage. And in which case, you're going to be a part of the ecosystem and part of the token distribution anyway. But that being said, Swell is, we're backed by some of the best in DeFi. We've got investors like Framework, IOSG. We've also have Mark Cuban as well, the guy from Bankless, and some of the OG crypto founders like from Synthetics Balancer and also Mast Network. So, if you do want to sort of jump on the private investor side, you'll be joining a very sort of solid group of people and a very sort of committed team. So yeah, definitely ping us on Swell Network or ping me personally on Twitter, and then we'll talk about sort of next steps. But for most people, the best way to sort of get involved and get token distribution anyway is just to participate in the voyage and do what you have been doing, and it's very, very much appreciated.
Okay, so there's another kind of venture capital round maybe closed in the future, right?
Yeah, right. But if people are interested, definitely ping me. But yeah, it's closing soon. Yeah.
Okay, got it. 所以刚刚 Daniel 他说就是，现在呢有一轮新的一个 VC 的轮次，马上就要结束了，那可能现在已经差不多完结了，所以说就普通的观众可能没有太多的一个参与机会，当然他们之前的那一轮次呢，大家很熟悉的，比如说 IOSG 啊，还有包括 Musk 啊这些都有进行一个支持，那接下来他认为说，可能社区的大家，更好的一个参与方法，如果说参与不了这种 VC 轮的话，那可以做好现在手边的事情，就是继续去进行一个质押，参与他们整个liquidity 啊，就这一些增加他们的 TVL 啊，这一些获得 PER 啊这些，对。但是有一个 VC 轮，就是在接下来会有一个宣布。刚刚还有一位，
哎 ，Hello，
看看有什么问题吗？
对，那个我是上来 say hi 的，因为我们 AC Capital 我们是那个 Swell 的那个早期投资人之一，然后正好也算是一个这个投资 portfolio 的这个 follow up， 我正好也有个问题想问一下 Daniel。
你可以用英文问，或者我可以帮你翻译。
Hey Daniel, how's it going, mate? Oh, good.
Really well, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good. This is Vincent from AC Capital, by the way. So I do have a question, though.
Mr. Vincent. Yeah. Hello, sir. It's a pleasure.
So, my question would be, so you like, I definitely know that you guys are like doing amazing. Like you guys are literally like the fastest growing LSD protocols around. But my question would be, so you see there would be say like a Lido, ETH, and you got a Rocket Pool, and you also got some others, and definitely Swell ETH, and more like from your perspective, right? So would you actually view like the more this kind of staked ETH kind of the LSD derivatives there are, the more fragmented the Ethereum liquidity would be? Or do you actually see, say, like kind of like the competition, there is going to be a singularity point where this kind of like a LSD competition would actually end, and we would have like say like the top three and no more newcomers into the space? When would you view that time point be? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, President. And also, yeah, thank you for your support since the very earliest days of Swell, sir. Yeah, but to your question, in relation to like Lido and Rocket Pool and just the end game for liquid staking, I think we'll end up in what's effectively an oligopoly. There'll be a handful of really dominant LSTs that will happen. So, for example, Lido has communicated that they're not going to be limiting their market share. Rocket Pool has signaled that already. Rocket Pool signaled around sort of 20%, if I'm not mistaken. And then others as well will probably signal a market share limit too. So the other thing as well is that, the Ethereum community and the Ethereum Foundation and the consensus layer, has already expressed that the dangers of people going over 33%. Lido is currently at sort of 32%. So it's already posing a bit of a systemic risk there. But that's okay. We'll sort of work through that. The market forces will sort of work through that. The most important thing is that the liquid staking market, because of this 33% thing, because of these 20% caps that people are already imposing on themselves, you'll sort of shake out to something like, 4 or 5 dominant LSTs and everyone else. But the 4 or 5 are going to have most of the market share. It'll be like a power law distribution. And then Swell wants to make sure it's a part of that set. So that will be the base layer. So at the base layer, you have ETH, and at the top layer, top of that, which is the receipt token or the LST, you have 4 of them or 5 of them, and then everything else on top. And then that everything else on top can become as complex as it wants. So the thing about it is we're still very, very early in LSTFi. Okay, the narrative has only really been sort of invented in the last sort of 6 months. And compared to TradFi, DeFi is very simple at the moment. But any path to complexity requires simplicity at the very base layer. The most simplest thing is ETH, then it's the LSTs, then it's everything on top, and all that sort of stuff. But that's why Swell is sort of positioning itself and has been really sort of thinking about the base layer really since day one. And that's really how we see the market playing out. Is there'll be a couple dominant players, and we hope Swell is one of them.
Yeah, awesome. That's a very amazing answer, and thank you for the answer. And all the best to your journey, and we will just keep supporting you guys. Yeah, let me know when you need any kind of support.
Absolutely, AC Capital, thank you so much.
Cheers. All right,我给大家翻译一下刚才他的这个我的问题和他的这个回答。是这样，我问的问题是，就是说，因为现在大家已经看到很多的这个 LSD 的这个协议，还有不同版本的这个质押过的这个 ETH。然后我的问题是，就是如果有这么多版本的这个 ETH 的话，会不会造成这个 ETH 流动性的这个割裂？然后他有没有会觉得说 ，OK， 到哪个时间点，LSD 这个赛道它会迎来一个终局，就是可能头3名，然后后面其他的人就新进入的人可能都已经没有办法再加入到这个赛道里。他是这么回答的，就是说目前来讲的话，包括 Lido， 包括这个就是Rocky Pool，Lido 已经明确表示他们没有这个明确的计划说会自我限制它占这个以太坊 POS 总算力的33%以上，它可能会不断的继续扩张下去。尽管说这个 Vitalik 表示过，最好就是任何单一的这个池子不要超过33%的这个算力，但是 Lido 并不打算自我限制。然后呢，相信其他的这个池子可能也不会去自我限制。那这样的这个状态下的话呢，自然来讲的话，最后必然会形成一个就头4到5名的这样的一种天然的这个垄断但是呢，就是现在的话呢，其实说这个垄断的形成其实还相对比较早，因为 LSD 的这个概念也被LSDFi 整个概念也没有被发明太久，可能6个月之前所以说现在的话一切都还早，现在的这个参与者都还非常的有这个机会。然后呢，就是同时的话呢，对于 LSD 本身的话，其实它的底层是大道至简的，就是 ETH 本身，就是纯 ETH 没了。那么所有的这个包括在传统金融里面，所有的复杂性的这个构造，其实也都是建立在非常简单的这个底层的这个逻辑之上的。那么在这个就是stake 的这个 ETH 这个简单的这个底层逻辑之上，能够构造出什么样复杂的这个 LSD 去吸引这个更多的这个质押量这个问题的话呢是交给后面所有的这个项目的这个开发者的所以说一切还早，一切还有很多的这个未定的这个未知数在这个领域里。
感谢，翻译的非常全面，把所有方面都囊括进去了。OK， 那刚刚有一个这个0x sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing? How's everyone?
Oh, yeah, nice. So, do you have any kind of questions for Daniel or for maybe sir?
Yeah, you know, I do have questions for Daniel.
Okay.
You there, Daniel?
Yep.
Yeah. Earlier in this call, you stated that Swell is more capital efficient than Lido. How do you meet that standard?
No, I never said that Swell is more capital efficient than Lido. I don't think.
Oh, did you say anything about efficiency earlier? I must have misheard.
No, we're not more capital efficient than Lido. I think in terms of capital efficiency, the term capital efficiency within the context of a liquid staking protocol typically refers to the node operator side. And on the node operator side, we've effectively emulated Lido's model in Lido V1's model in having a permissioned set of node operators that have infinite capital efficiency because there's no bond. And instead of having a bond via permissionlessness, you have this sort of permissioned way of doing things without requiring a bond. Therefore, the thing's infinitely capital efficient from the node operator side. But insofar as stakers are concerned, everything's sort of at parity. So yeah, I wouldn't say we're more capital efficient than Lido is.
Awesome. I'm glad I heard that wrong.
那我简单给大家翻译一下，就刚刚的这个 Sir 呢，他问 Daniel 说，刚刚之前就在讲座开头的时候有没有讲到说，这 Spore 它可能会有一个更高的一个资金使用率，比 Lido 更高的一个资金使用率。然后 Daniel 他回答说，没有，我没有讲过这个问题。他说，Lido 是他非常尊重的一个项目。当然就是在这个所有对于资金使用率这一块呢，他认为就在 protocol 这个方面，虽然说在承诺上没有这样的承诺，但是他希望能够给就是各位用户带来一个stake 相关的一个利益相关，然后给他们更多的一个利益或者说更多的一个帮助。